Hey guys, what's up? It's Gavin from Gavin's Guitar Tips. Today we're going to be talking all about how to practice a lick or a tricky part from a solo so that it's something that you eventually can play. Last video we talked about how to practice a song, assuming you've already learned all the parts and know how to play them. That was about how to sort of perfect it, give a great holistic performance. Today is all about the nitty-gritty, zooming into just one lick or one hard piece of a solo. We're going to be looking at the song Divine, brand new song from All That Remains. Now they have Jason Richardson on lead guitar, so it's the Jason Richardson solo. We're going to be learning sort of the hardest run from the hardest lick. Quick reminder before we continue, I'm going to be changing the channel name here from Gavin's Guitar Tips to simply Gavin Brooks, my name, on July 1st, little rebrand. And next Friday, June 28th, will be a release from me, a metal EP, the first of many different styled EPs that are going to be coming out across the next 6 weeks. I learned this solo about half an hour ago, or just this one piece. I didn't learn the whole solo, the sort of what seemed like it would be the hardest piece to play. So the line we're dealing with, let me put on my headphones so I can hear myself. Go in guitar mode here, is going to be obviously want to hit that note better there. First two questions you want to ask yourself when you're working on a lick or a solo or whatever is what key is this in and what tempo is this in? So this is in D minor, very common key. We're in drop C right now. That's why I have my special green guitar set up for drop C. We're going to look at understanding where this fits in within the key, where these patterns come from, so that we also know how to like take some of these licks, some of these lines, and experience them everywhere on the fretboard. This is in D minor, and the song's at, I think, like 216, 217 BPM, 16th notes, which is absurdly fast. Absurdly fast. I think most people can't really play clean at like 160 beats per minute, myself included. 216, 217, ridiculous. And the first comment I want to make before we dive into the solo is that there's one kind of liberty I might take in the way that I play this. I'm usually a fan of trying to play things exactly as they are in the song, but there's a sort of strange jump here that Jason does, where in the end of this alternate picked line, he jumps here to start the minor sweep arpeggio. I would rather go right there, and I could sort of go and slide into the arpeggio rather than having to jump from here to, so I will probably be playing it something like that. This is one long, fast 16th note line, but it's not really one thing. We clearly have three distinct chunks. We have the alternate picked line that repeats in a sort of pattern, 8 notes. There's sort of 4 groups of 8 notes there. We have the sweep with a tap. That's its own skill, it's its own chunk. And then finally this kind of single string ascending 4-note group line. By the way, if you've seen my video on single string shred, you already know that line. So the first simple way to practice this is just to really separate things into those discrete pieces and then still chunk them into smaller bits within that. So start at like an approachable tempo. Like I'm gonna do like 160 just to kind of feel it out. Okay. Just getting used to how that feels alone. We could also use the sweep. Okay, just feeling that. And then feeling this. So something I want to be noticing just in my early attempts of everything, I'm at 160, I need to get to 216. It's just how does everything feel? I already know for myself, the easiest part for sure is the single note, single string line. I've practiced that a shit ton already. The picking is not complicated, it's just left hand. Perfect for me. I know that this phrase is gonna be annoying for me because it's an outside change going. That's my worst type of string change of 4 string changes for the picking hand. God damn it, Jason, why do you have to do that to me? So I know that's gonna be tricky, especially for the right hand. And then this sweep, I know the little quick tap is happening really fast, and that's going to be a big challenge. So here's some examples of how we just start to chunk each one of those problems. This sort of thing. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1, right? I'm just taking 8 notes of it. Not great. And if you're noticing I'm struggling a lot with this, it's because I hate that picking change so much. It's my arch nemesis, okay? Forgive me. And then what you do is you'd work on the next chunk of 8 notes, right? So that one ends there. Notice too, I'm adding a 1 at the end. So I can go click, click, click. Now that second group will start there. Click, click, click. I'm not giving myself a lot of time here on video, but the idea is every time I go through a repetition, I want to get a little more comfortable on it. Maybe give myself even more time to sort of something along those lines, okay? So that's a very simple way I could be practicing. It's just chunking it 1 bit at a time. And then eventually, as you try to get more comfortable with it, trying to, okay? I can piece this lick together. It's just an uncomfortable thing for me. I'm fighting all kinds of terrible muscle memory with the picking hand, which is making it difficult. The left hand is fine. Let's move on a bit to the sweeping portion of it and see how that is going. So same thing, keeping the metronome at 200. It's kind of a speed I can somewhat do, but not quite our target yet. And I just want to see how that sweep builds like a little bit at a time. I don't know if I can do the whole thing right away. So I'm going to try, for example, just like okay. Ooh. 5 notes. Right? That sort of rhythm. I'm doing that kind of rhythm, yeah. I'm gonna try a little further. Okay. Okay. This is not easy at all. It's not comfortable at all. And so what my goal here would be is to like spend like 10, 15 minutes at that place. You're only getting like 15 seconds of me. It's not the best right now. But I would stay at that and try this every rep to relax a little more into it. Because I'm kind of pulling it off. It's not clean. It's not comfortable. And that comes from repeating it at that kind of burst length. You'll notice too, I'm finishing it with a transition into where the next piece should go, right? Biffed a few notes. Takes a lot of brain power, but the point is I'm ending with a bit of a transition into the next portion. The important idea here is that we want to practice transitioning from one skill into another as much as we want to practice them by themselves, right? So instead of just working on my alternate picking, just my sweeping, I got to practice how I get from A to B. And I'll show you how I do that at speed with speed burst, just adding 1 note at a time. So I'm going to come from the end of this alternate picking leg into the sweeps thing, and this is how it will go. Okay? Then I'm barely pulling this off. I would work on it much more, but the point is, hey, go practice the transition. The next way we're going to focus on this is not really about speed bursts or about the technique. It's about understanding the core ideas in the solo throughout the key. So if we look at this first phrase that's going on, it's really like an 8-note pattern that is mostly sort of in one box of this scale. And then we shift sort of positions to the next 3-note per string scale to the left, where we then do the same 8-note pattern from where we are with another shift down. Shift down, shift down. You can think of this like I'm in the 3-note per string major shape right now. And then now I've moved over into the 3-note per string low range shape. And then I move down again. And now I'm in the minor shape, and then I'm in the Mixolydian box. And the reason I would care about that is because I want to take this idea and move it. Oops. To another piece. Oops, excuse me. Of the scale. Difficult. I'm tired. I'm tired already, man. I've had a long day, and now I'm trying to play Jason Richardson. I'm tired. The idea there is you want to learn the lick as a concept, not as something that you just play right here on 15, 17, and 18, or whatever frets those are, in that exact part of the scale. I want to be something that then you could use in all of your playing, right? Or you can find it in any key, or you can connect it to the fretboard no matter where you are, because it's just a 3-note per string pattern. 3-note per string scales exist in every key. Part of the reason that we want to practice the same concept in different parts of the fretboard, different parts of the key, is so that it distributes our failed attempts kind of everywhere rather than storing it up all in one lick. Because what can happen if you practice the same exact lick, right, same exact fingers being used, same part of the fretboard over and over and over again, it can be really easy to develop bad muscle memory if a lot of our attempts aren't great. Like the way I was playing earlier, a lot of those attempts were not great. And instead of staying here over and over again to keep attempting it, I'd want to take that phrase and just work on it anywhere else in the key so that my fingers aren't only thinking of the skill as happening right here. If we look at the arpeggio, right, it's really just a minor arpeggio shape with a tapped second or ninth, whatever you want to call it. It's in drop tuning, so this note is kind of not where I'd use it to be. It usually is right there, so it's 2 frets forward. Or if I play it with my slide thing, it's over there, right? Same thing here. I would think about, can I take that sweep shape and play it? Yikes, my playing is falling apart. All throughout my key, right? Because that's just a concept, a triad shape. And same thing with that tap note. I could be practicing like, okay, this little, it's a triad with a tapped second. I could then go, yikes. My playing is awful right now. Need to practice and make less videos. And then of course we could do the same thing with the single string run. This, all that is going through 3 notes and applying a 3-1-2-3 pattern to it. Then what you can try to do, right, is if I go back to the metronome here, I can think about, I'll play the whole thing a little slower. I'll play it at this speed, right? Okay, I gotta remember it. Totally fucked up. We could then try that same lick in a different part of the fretboard. So if I move, for example, the whole thing down, let me just kind of pre-program it in my mind a little bit. And what I would do is work on taking all the ideas from the solo and moving it through the key to every position if you can, right? I could move that spontaneously to somewhere I haven't played it before, taking it at slow speed, and trying to just figure out where all those notes are. The last concept we want to talk about is separating our left and right hand. It's not always my left hand being a problem, it's not always my right hand being a problem. I know, for example, with this core lick, the left hand is fine if I do that legato with minimal picking, and I could also just be practicing that to get used to the pattern. But then I know and I know already, my problem with this, my weakness, is this picking change. I hate even groups descending, right? And in the lick, So I would just want to work on stuff like that a lot, maybe, more so than the left hand. Make sure that you can do each piece of it by itself, just the right hand or just the left hand. You can do the same thing with the sweep, right? Thinking of it, if I play the traditional way, as da 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 da. And when I work on just that, it really helps me clean up the actual entire phrase. Same thing, you can practice the sweep alone with your left hand. Big fan of that. And then the last lick is probably all going to be left hand because you know you're just going on a single string. Sorry if the video is a little falling apart. It feels like it's been falling apart, frankly. You want to separate things into small chunks. Play them as bursts with a metronome, but focusing on trying to get more comfortable as well as more clean each time that you repeat them. Practice the transitions from one chunk to the next. Also, practice playing things through the scale and think about separating your two hands.